Hello again, Jim here. So where is here? Here is west of Baldwin, Michigan, near Sulak Campground. Getting ready to head out for a winter overnight. Turning into a beautiful day, wind still kicking up a little bit. Temps are in the mid-20s. Let's get out, get set up, and I'll tell you more about where we are and what we're doing. See you out there. Yeah, I got a sled. Brought the snowshoes, new boots. That way. Came from that direction. Couldn't park at the normal parking area right at the trailhead because it wasn't plowed and the snow was too deep. So I parked on up the road at a wide spot that had been plowed and have come through this way bushwhacking, looking for the North Country Trail. So I'm thinking I finally reached the intersection with the North Country Trail. And it's going this way, I hope. We'll find out. I love it when a plan comes together. Blue blazes. North Country Trail. I've come from that way on the North Country Trail. We're coming to a turn. There's this huge deadfall. And there's a blue blaze right up there. And I'm thinking the trail is going to turn down this ridge and go down to a creek. And the creek is my destination. Actually, not the creek itself, just short of it. My intention is to find a campsite somewhere on the ridge above the creek. Cold air sinks, don't you know? I'm supposed to have a low in the mid-teens tonight. So I'll set up camp somewhere up here just above the creek. Hopefully have a ready supply of thawed water. And that could be an awesome source of firewood depending upon how long it's been down. I have to take a hard look at that. So I think I'm going to unhitch from my sled and amble on down the ravine over there and see if that is in fact the creek. And if so, I'll set up camp somewhere around here. I got the sled about a minute ago and have come across these logs that those are obviously meant to be sat upon. So I got to be close. There are all these evergreens in front of me and a steep gorge down. I do believe I found the creek. And I'm thinking I might want to set up the tent right back up here. It's more sheltered than it is higher up. Of course, I got to get the sled down that hill. Let's go check out the creek. Well, we've got a bridge down there, but I'm not seeing any flowing water. Only snow. Maybe there's enough underneath or a slow trickle somewhere. Head on down and take a closer look. I brought plenty of water for tonight and tomorrow, but I really would have liked to have had some fresh creek water for a change. On the bridge, North Country Trail is going back up there. I came down from up there, and looking at that, you could well believe that we're melting snow for water, but when you look right down in there, there is a little bit of water flowing. Not sure how I can safely get at it just yet. Certainly doesn't look like that ice would hold me, but if I need to, I'll figure something out. Looking back upstream, it's even less open. Tiny little gap down here. But there is running water, and it is rather nice. Sheltered from the wind. The wind's really been kicking. Wind is supposed to calm down about 2, and it is currently 1:30. So I think we'll go back up to the hill, look for a campsite, go collect the sled and set up. Marlin spike hitch. Had to look it up. I was undecided about whether to set up on packed snow or whether to get out the shovel and try to shovel down to the dirt. And I decided to set up on packed snow because I felt that snow is a good insulator and I'd stand a better chance of not having any sticks or roots or anything poking through the ground sheet. If someone's got an opinion on shoveling down or setting up on snow, I'd sure love to hear about it in the comments. I'm actually planning to use snow anchors, but these will do for just getting set up. Out my old Half Dome 2 Plus for this trip. Decided I wanted to save the MSR NX2 for when weight was more of an issue. I think I found my snow anchors. Rinse, lather, repeat. On to the next one. I wanted to take you over and show you this. I'm digging the hole for the last of my snow anchors, and there's a green blade of grass down there. Not terribly green, but a bit of green. Always nice to see. It's, what, 3 weeks into February, and winter's long in the tooth right now. So looking forward to ramping up the cold stuff and getting on to springtime. The tent, by the way, is one part of a two-part plan. The second part is going to take place right over there. So I've got my blue foam pad strung out, sleeping bag, clothes, go over all that stuff in a bit. Bit of extra foam pad. But now, back to the pack. Alright, got my inReach set up. Just sent my wife my location, let her know I'm set up camp, and all is well. And now, just grab my large tarp, hammock, and got the tent set up. I'm going to set up the tarp and the hammock over there. In this area, I'm actually going to shovel it down the dirt, so I'm not walking on snow all the time. And I'm also going to have a fire over here, and rather than having the fire melt down through the snow and make a pit and lose the warmth, I'm going to go down to dirt in order to have maximum warmth from the fire. So, time to do some shoveling. There is a layer of ice, about 6 or 8 inches down. Got to chunk through it. But the snow is light and fluffy. Just walked up to this tree. There's a flathead nail in it. I am not the first person to camp here. Almost certainly going to be way too short. Well, you know, look out. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is going to work. Got the fire right here. Tent's far enough away, it's not going to get caught with any sparks. Just got to finish setting up the tarp. Find some more sticks to use for snow anchors. And then it'll be time to do some serious firewood gathering. Looks like there's wood around to be gathered. That's the good news. Bad news is it's out in the deep snow, so I'm going to have to put the snowshoes back on. Yeah, just another day in paradise. Time for a break. Just finished gathering up some firewood. Don't know if I've got enough or not. Probably not. Anytime you think you have enough, you ought to gather 5 times more, but I've left firewood at camp before, so we're going to see how this goes for now. Started to get a little too warm. Temperature's probably, I think it said 27 on the truck when I got here. So it's probably mid to upper 20s. It's supposed to get down to 16 tonight. What am I doing out here? Well, after that last winter camping trip, the full battle rattle, it went rather well. And I learned a number of things. And I remember thinking at the end of that trip, you know, if I learn from my mistakes and implement changes, I could really have a good time out here in the winter. And this trip is all about implementing those changes and seeing how it goes. And to start with, you saw the sled. Had the sled carrying the heavy load today. It was very nice. It's how I can afford to carry a tent and a tarp and a hammock. It was not easy pulling a sled with snowshoes, but it was a hell of a lot easier to carry the sled, to pull the sled with the snowshoes, than it would have been to try to just backpack it in here with a big monster winter pack. Got new boots. Got a wonderful pair of Omni Heat, I think they're Columbia. On sale, REI, $100. Saved $60 or $70. And they are waterproof. My feet are dry and warm. So, took care of that problem. Didn't really have that many more problems on the full Battle Rattle trip. I have brought an extra piece of foam insulation for inside the tent this time, in addition to the Walmart blue foam pad that I'll put underneath my sleeping pad. Did not bring as many pairs of gloves this time, and that might have been a mistake, because the one pair of moderate gloves that I brought are now wet from dealing with gathering wood in the snow. I've got my big mittens for later tonight or in the morning when it's really cold. But I'm thinking it might have been nice to have a pair of work gloves so that I could have saved these for, you know, like right now, just sitting around. My hands aren't cold at all, but then I'm still cooling down from gathering that wood. Actually, it wasn't that tough to do. There was a number of trees that had fallen just a short distance across the trail, and it had knocked down a number of wrist-sized, let me turn you around here so you can see it. It had knocked down a number of wrist-sized trees in the process, and that had all happened some time ago. So it was fairly easy to just gather up a lot of that wrist-sized stuff that had been down for quite some time. Bark's flying off of it. I hope it's good wood, because I got quite a few of the same thing. We'll see. So, you go out, you experiment, you try things, you figure out solutions to problems that you had, and then you come out and you try it, and you do it again, and you see how it goes. And I got to tell you, I like this location. The only sounds that I hear are wind. I don't hear a bit of road noise. I'm far enough away from everything that you really have that feel of being out somewhere. When I did that Au Sable canoe trip, it was really kind of annoying because I had this beautiful scenery, but then I could hear this highway on the other side of the lake, not too far away. Sound carries over water, of course, but still, it was too close to a highway. So when I was choosing this location, I specifically chose it because there were no highways nearby. And I'd have to say I succeeded. I don't think I've heard a single motor vehicle since I got here. But then there's been a fair amount of wind too. The wind is still howling through the trees, and it's just after 4 o'clock, and the wind was supposed to die down at 2, and I can still hear it in the treetops. Alright, time to start processing firewood. It's going to get dark about 10 after 6 tonight. Spiffy watch. It's my Garmin Instinct watch. Love this thing. Garmin absolutely did a great job when they made this one. And it gives me right on the face the sunrise and sunset. And sunset tonight is 6:11, so got another couple hours. See ya. Got my spin saw, 21 inch. And one thing I learned about this For those of you that get one of these, most people I've seen grab it like this and cut with it, and you know, that works fine. But I have found that if you hold it down here, it's a lot easier. It's your tip of the day. There's the pile of wood that we got. A lot of it is really pretty far gone. I'm gonna head down by the creek here, see if I can score some dead softwood just to make sure I help get things started. A lot of that is what I call woof wood. You put it on the fire and it goes woof and it's gone. Okay, got a bunch of really nice dry, I think they're spruce twigs. Just snap right off in your hand. Got my pad up here on the hammock. Made a shelf for the stove over here. Now I'm going to sit here and break these into pieces and use these to get the fire started. Hopefully we'll get enough coals going to where even if this is iffy wood, it'll catch. We'll see. Finished breaking up that spruce into a nice little bundle of twigs and sticks. Very fine stuff over here. Kind of medium finger size, moving up to just about thumb size over here. That should be a great start to the fire. I don't think we'll have any trouble getting one going. Just don't know how long some of that wood's going to last is the only issue. Since I've been here, been drinking this liter of water, and when I'm not drinking it, throw it upside down in the snow, and the snow insulates it, keeps it from freezing. That has been working very well. Not the least bit frozen inside, and it's again mid-20s, upper 20s here today. So it's just after 5 o'clock, and I'm thinking it's time to get my sleeping arrangement set up in the tent, get the sleeping bag and the hammock gear 20-degree top quilt out and let them get lofting up. Let's do that next. Sleeping arrangement's all set up. Here's what we got. Blue Walmart pad, Thermarest Neo-Air X-Therm, Marmot sleeping bag, hammock gear 20-degree down quilt. Smart wool base layer, and somewhere in here is a thick pair of socks, but should be all set. Don't expect to be cold in the night. Well, we got our sleeping arrangements all set up. Got the firewood set in. It is 5:27. Time for dinner. Reflectix Cozy. And Mountain House chicken and noodles. Sounds like a winner. 2 cups of boiling water. I'm going to go hang this up and then get the water, set the stove up on the shelf. Hopefully it doesn't melt. And get the water on the boil, then we'll lay the fire. Got 2 cups of water in the pot. Made a second shelf up here. Very handy thing, snow. Get the lid on there. Put it back in there. I use the white gas stove again. I brought an alcohol burner, and I may well give that a shot later. Very curious to see how easily or not alcohol lights in cold weather. Get this out. There we go. And Back to unwinding this thing. Seriously, this thing seems excessive. Fuel bottle. Even got it pumped up 25 times. There we go. Oh, I had a lighter in there. Bingo. You know what? I wonder if you can light that with a fire steel. I'm going to put the lighter in my pocket. Let that butane start getting warmed up. And I'm going to get out the fire steel that I keep here. Ferrocerium rod. We're going to see if we can light this with a ferrocerium rod without blowing ourselves up. There we go. Okay, now the trick is going to be yeah, look at that. Okay, good to know. And there we go. Okay. Water is on to boil. For those of you that watched that full battle rattle video, you'll note that I brought the larger pot this time. Fits much better on the stove. Water's still on to boil, but went to grab my gloves. Found out they're frozen. I'd had them hanging on the ridgeline for the hammock. I put them in my pocket, thaw them out. Water's added, stirred, in the cozy, now into the gear hammock while it rehydrates. Dinner's rehydrating. Let's do the fire lay. Make sure I get you in frame here. Start off. From all that wood, got a lot of bark shreds. So I'm going to put this bark in the ground first to act as a vapor barrier. Because nothing kills a fire faster than trying to turn water into steam, or to turn ice into water actually. It takes a lot of calories to do that. And we want our calories to go into heat. There's that spruce bundle that I gathered up a little while ago. And I think we'll put just a couple of pieces of wood on here to give it a little extra base. But this wood that I'm putting on is not the good stuff. This is the stuff that I expect will have a problem because it's so punky. And of course, in my pocket, warming up a little bit, I have one of my homemade super fire starters. Paraffin wax, oak shavings, cotton ball, and a paper egg crate. Love these things. Now the lighter has been in my pocket warming up, so it ought to be good to go. light the cotton ball. Spread the finest stuff around. And we'll get the spruce lit up. You know, one of these days, when I feel like I've got plenty of time, I'll do one of the bushcrafty fire starting things. Do the feather stick. There's some yellow birch over there. Could probably get that to ignite with a ferro rod. But tonight it's getting dark quickly. It's a timer for my food to get about another 5 minutes. Anyway, sun is down below a hill even though it's not officially sunset yet. Don't want any water getting on that. I also have my headlamp in my pocket, getting warm. Batteries do not like cold. Yeah. Start off with a little Boy Scout teepee action, and then after we get things going, we'll knock it down and get it running the long way perpendicular to the hammock. No other animals use tools, but to the best of my knowledge, only man uses fire. Oh, this is feeling better already. It wasn't really cold. Fingers are a bit cold, but the rest of me is fine. But the warmth sure does feel good. And dinner's going to be ready in about 3 minutes, and that will feel even better. Let's start orienting this a bit more the long way. Parallel with where I want to eat. There we go. Alright, all the spruce is on. Got another 2 minutes until dinner's ready to eat. Fire's happening. Got a good stretch of wood. Catch up with you in a bit. Oh yeah, fire's cranking up nicely. Time to go settle into the hammock and eat dinner. Well, dinner's over. It's starting to get dark out there. Fire is settling in nicely. I'm too far away from it though. I'm not getting any heat from it back here in the hammock. I don't know what else I would have done with the tarp in porch mode. I wouldn't have wanted to get the tarp any closer to it. So now, I think I'm just going to sit here and chill in front of the fire a little bit. And relax, catch up on some reading. And then head in the tent after a while. Once again, I may have gathered more firewood than I will burn this evening, and I don't know if I'll have a fire in the morning or not. I'd have to get more spruce to get it started, that's for sure. This definitely needs a boost to get started. "5 degrees this morning, and I'm getting ready to make some coffee from the tent, and the alcohol would not light unless I stuck a match right down in it. But I had wondered if it were in fact hard to light alcohol when it was very, very cold, and it is. Waiting for the coffee water to boil. It is 5 degrees here, and it feels it. I've got on my big jacket and my synthetic jacket, and got my top quilt wrapped around my legs, trying to keep warm. Waiting for the coffee water to get hot, which might take quite a while, but at least I had water. That was good. And it was a cold night, no mistake about it. And there is a layer of icy mist all over the inside of the tent, of course. So, never make any strategic plans without coffee. Let's get the coffee, and we'll figure out what we're going to do today. Just finished my coffee, and so I've got a plan. Since I'm all set up for cooking here in the tent, I'm gonna go ahead and make breakfast. And after I finish breakfast, should be sunrise. Sunrise is about 7:30 right now, and I got about another half hour to go until sunrise. Should be a sunny day, which is one of the reasons why it got so cold last night. So with the sunshine, I'm hoping that'll do a lot to knock the frost off the tent and make it easier to pack up. And we'll go down and see if we can get some more of those spruce twigs to get a fire going. Did not burn all the firewood last night. So breakfast, spruce twigs, fire, and we'll see what we do from there. Mountain House biscuits and gravy this morning. That is just what a single-digit morning calls for. Breakfast is finished. I gathered a few more of those spruce twigs, and had a little bit of bark left over. I don't really know that I need the bark this morning. This is almost certainly quite dry. And got my egg carton wax fire starter here. Getting ready to light off. Had my lighter in my pocket to ensure that the butane was maxed out. There we go. Well, technically the sun came up a half hour ago. I haven't seen it yet. Still behind the hills over here. Don't have as many of these really fine twigs as I would like to have. But it ought to work. Going to get a fire going. Stay warm. Give the frost a chance to get evaporated. Have a look at the tarp. I don't know if you can see the frost on there, but heavy amount of frost on the tarp this morning. Yeah, a few of those twigs are catching, but that's still mostly that fire starter that I put in there. Last night I stood these up beside the fire to give them a chance to dry off. We'll be going to them sooner rather than later. Checked the temperature a little while ago. It's already up to 8 degrees. be a balmy day. Came up with a new fire lay last night that I liked. Fire needed more oxygen than what you could get from just having the wood lay parallel to the direction you want the heat. So I'd make a V with the open end of the V near where I wanted the heat, and then I could lay a piece or three into the crook of the V. That seemed to work quite well. The camera battery does not like this cold, down to 1 already, so I'm gonna get the fire going, hang out here a little bit, give the sun a chance to evaporate the frost off the gear, then we'll pack up and see what we're about. Okay, fire is going. Just put on my tall REI gaiters. What a difference in warmth that made. These things do help keep you warm more than just keep the, in addition to just keeping the snow out. Thought I'd show you that V fire configuration I was talking about. You can see I've got a V coming in from the right and then from the left, and then lay some sticks, logs right up the middle, and it causes the heat to reflect out this way. And as it burns down, it builds up on the backside and helps, again, direct the heat right toward where I'm sitting. The sun is coming up, but it's not yet clear of the trees over there. Looking off up there, you can see it's shining about halfway down the trees, I'd say. Got a woodpecker over there getting breakfast. There's some big trees in here. Time to get back to staying warm. This is my ThruNite Archer flashlight that I have been so enamored of, but it has failed in the cold weather. I put fresh batteries in it right before I left, so I know it's not the batteries. It seems to be something related to the switch on the bottom. Apparently it has a temperature sensitivity. Well, the sun is slowly making its way up, but I'm starting to see a couple of clouds show up over there. Hope it doesn't cloud up, it's not supposed to. Beautiful view this morning. I find myself thinking a lot about redundancies this morning. If I had said, well, I've got 2 lighters and a ferrocerium rod, I don't have a need to bring any matches, I would not have been able to get the alcohol stove lit. I would have had to get out of the tent and all the warmth of the down and come out and ignite the white gas stove out here. And I don't know that I really trust doing the white gas stove that close to the tent. So I was able to stay warm because I had brought matches, despite having 2 lighters and a ferrocerium rod. And the chair. I had thoughts, why bring the chair? You're bringing the hammock and the tarp. You can just sit in the hammock and the tarp. Well, if I had not brought the chair, because I had the hammock and the tarp, I wouldn't be able to sit this close to the fire and get the warmth. I would have had to either rebuild the fire closer to the tarp, which has its disadvantages, or I would have had to somehow move the fire closer to the hammock. So I'm glad I brought the chair. You know, winter camping, I'm thinking more and more, is no time to be overly weight conscious. And there's an old saying that I'm fond of with regards to ways to make a fire. That is, one is none. And the same thing might hold true for other aspects of winter camping as well. Having a place to sit, having a way to start the fire, probably water too. The water's held up well, by the way. That little cooler that I brought has kept it liquid despite the single-digit temps that we had this morning. Well, it's 10 to 9 in the morning, and what's interesting is you can see the sunlight has almost come down the hill far enough to reach the tent. We are just a few feet shy of the bottom of that tree. So hopefully the tent will start getting some sunlight soon. And the tarp, give you a close-up of the frost. A lot of little ash bits on it as well. This is what's left of the firewood pile. And it's cranking out a fair amount of heat. Waiting for that sunshine to come up. Tent's getting some sunlight now. Still has some frost on the sunny side, but getting better. I can always just pack it up as is, but I'd prefer not to. It's a lot easier to get it dry in the field than at home. Well, as I had feared, that the last bit of that firewood wasn't very good at all. Very punky and just not a lot of BTUs left in it. So I've adjusted the fit of my snowshoes for my new boots, and I think I'm going to go explore a little bit, see what's up out there. It's the creek down there somewhere. There's small animal tracks up here. Something's been moving. I did find out, if you watch that last video I made, that last winter camping video, there was a track I couldn't identify. Raccoon. Pretty sure it was a raccoon. Oh yeah. A lot more open water down here. Steep hillside though to get to it. Very pretty out here. Very pretty. Don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there is a trail that runs up and then down, and then what looks to be a lot of small footprints right by that open area in the creek. I'm thinking that's where the animals are going to drink. Got just that little opening right there, and then I can see all sorts of what appear to be footprints down there. Very popular place. And then the trail comes up and around and then down and then on over. Just found somebody's tree stand. It's a long time since the season here, and it makes me wonder, somebody think they can just leave this out here and nobody will find it? Don't care if anybody finds it. Maybe they figure they'll come back in the spring after the snow's gone and retrieve it then, or maybe the guy that owns it was old and has since passed away. Well, some sort of small creature lives here. Been very active. Lots of trails, especially back underneath of that tree back in there. Cross through there, under there. Don't know who the little guy is, but I hope he's keeping warm. So, bird or chipmunk? Don't know. Runs from tree to tree. I'm thinking chipmunk. Suddenly noticed that there are birds coming to life. Sure sign of spring. More than just one type, too. Good news. So what we have here is some frozen Jif crunchy peanut butter. That'll go in one pocket. And a cold oats and honey crunchy granola bar. That'll go in another pocket. In about 5 minutes, you dip the granola bar in the peanut butter. Oh, that's a good snack right there. Alright, getting things packed up inside the tent, and thought I would go over how the sleeping arrangements went last night. Stayed warm enough on the bottom. The Walmart pad and the Thermarest X-Term did okay, as long as I stayed on them. Had a tendency to roll off every once in a while. Got the Marmot sleeping bag in here. It was okay again, but having the hammock gear top quilt made it work. Obviously, you know, the two together were necessary for 5 degrees. Didn't know it was going to get to be that cold. And the parts of skin that were exposed, you know, around my face were cold. But otherwise, I was okay. I did have one of those hot hands hand warmers in the foot of the sleeping bag, which was really wonderful until it ran out about 2 or 3 a.m. So I'm going to finish getting packed up here in the tent. Then I'm going to take the tarp and the hammock down, take the shovel and spread the ashes of the fire around so that you can't tell that was there. And we'll get packed up and hit the road. I used this Trangia fuel bottle for the alcohol stove this morning for the first time, and I gotta say, I like it. I like it a lot. I was able to position it directly over the burner and hit the button and pour the fuel straight into it. And it's not very heavy, and just this really seems to be a good design. I love that you can screw down this cap and lock it off. Very worthwhile in my opinion. Yeah, the fire's almost out. I've had morning snack. So now I'm thinking it's time to make a second coffee and then get serious about packing up. Seems to have warmed up quite a bit from what it was. Sunshine, no wind. Very nice. The water's on the boil. That never takes long. That stove. So let's get the coffee in the pot. Okay, water's ready. I checked the thermometer. Got Got an updated temperature while I was waiting for the water to boil. 24 degrees. Well, packed up, ready for travel. There's where the tent was last night. You can see a little bit of melt, especially some lines, but overall, sleeping on the snow, setting the tent up on the snow, worked just fine. It was not cold on the back or any of that. So it's time for our last look around camp. Make sure we haven't forgotten anything. Fire pit's been shoveled out, ashes spread. Just a few sticks of firewood left, none of it any good. And the kitchen. It was a good kitchen. All right, saddle up and hit the trail. There's yesterday's trail coming out. And that is the Pere Marquette River. After I got back to the truck, got loaded up, saw some guys towing a fishing boat down to the launch. So that's it for this video. Please subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.